today we're going to focus more on the kind of pure philosophy of sales, selling on the product versus learning about how to be better at sales.
If you are so product focused, it can feel very forced and rehearsed and cold.
Ask good questions. So if you have more information about their budget, the solution, who the players are, etc., you are likely going to be the person that's going to win that deal.
Also, why I want to do that in person, there's a lot of body language in those responses.
Agreed.
Oh, I don't want to be pushy. Yes, you do.
You need to be asking for the business.
Intentionality wins. You're going to have to do the hard work, be intentional, train. Your sales team isn't going to magically improve. Welcome to Entry&Exit. My name is Stephen Olmon, and this is Collin Trimble, my less handsome better half. We run Alarm Masters in Houston, Texas, and we also run this podcast where we try to give you practical, tactical advice on how to scale your security or life safety business.
We're going to get back into the theme of sales today, Stephen. We're going to talk about, and the reason why is because we just had our sales kickoff, our SKO, if you will, for our business this week, literally just 3 days ago. And so this was sort of top of mind for, hey, what did we talk about? And what was the focus of the SKO? And really for us, it's about enabling our reps and giving them training, upskilling our existing reps. And so that's going to be the theme of today's episode is we are going to talk about how do we enable and improve our sales reps. And we have talked about how do you need to hire great sales reps to align with your goals and the role they're filling, a hunter versus farmer, that we've talked about that. We have not talked about how do we improve our existing sales team. We've both worked in organizations, right, where it's like, hey, we spend a lot of time doing sales training. And so we spend a lot of time here at Alarm Masters training our existing salespeople. Always be training, if you will.
Always be training, yeah. There's actually a song about this. Let's talk about sales, baby.
Yeah, that didn't land.
It's an innuendo.
Yeah. So the first thing that I think I want to chat with you about, because I think that you would appreciate this, is you've got to differentiate between your training are we training on product and how to sell a given product or features and benefits and how to position the product, or are you training on sales ability, like true sales ability, skill, how to ask great questions, etc. And I think that today we're going to focus more on the kind of pure philosophy of sales and how to ask better questions and kind of some things that we really focus on with our team. But would you put those into two categories like that? How do you think about that in terms of selling on the product versus learning about how to be better at sales, right?
The people that I've seen that I've I want to emulate those people, when I was coming up in my own sales career, and people that I want to be on our team are less deep product knowledge and super nerd alert, beep, beep, beep. You can always bring in that's what you did at salesforce.com. You can always bring a SME, but the real talent is in the discovery and the question asking, in the rapport building, all of kind of bringing someone through a process. That in and of itself is a skill. The product stuff, selling a product, is not, that's kind of secondary, and I just value it less.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. It's interesting to think about how the industry is set up today, because today the industry is set up such that the manufacturers come in and do sales training on their product.
Yes.
I was that person, and I would come in and say, hey, here's how you sell this product. I think that's incredibly valuable, but that's not what we're talking about, right? What we're talking about, that's separate. You should do that. It's both and, I think, don't you? It's both and. It's both.
I'm saying it's the selling the product is not as hard. That's a little more rote. It's a little more can be rehearsed and memorized and just
good
product
point.
Knowledge. A lot of people can come in and just nerd out and know a product. I mean, I did a bajillion sales demos in my sales career. I would dream, like in my sleep, I would like dream sales demos, and it's just
Yeah.
like the same dream, you
Yeah.
know, because I said the same stuff all the time. Like, so you can do that. I think the problem with that is like if you are so product focused, it can feel very
Yeah.
forced and rehearsed and
Yeah.
cold.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily, if you're like a big product salesperson, like you
Yeah.
can make buyers feel like you're just transactional.
Yeah. I think that the thing that we both heard in the tech sales world is be consultative, which I think a lot of people have heard that, like be a consultative seller. And so, as a consultant, former consultant yourself, Stephen, what is the most important skill that you think that that person needs to have if they're going to be a consultative salesperson?
Listen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the most important skill set is to be able to listen, like to be able to ask really clear questions that are going to draw out the things that need to be stated, that are going to, kind of lead you to understanding what the best solution for them is.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to probably like both and question, listen. The response is really just following the path of what they've shared kind of is leading you to suggest or
Right.
consult them to buy or implement. But
Yeah.
the real skill and the most important part is more on the question asking and the listening.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the one thing that I spend the most amount of my time outside of product focused selling with my team is around how to ask good questions and how to rebuttal objections with questions and how to use questions to further give you information. I think that the person, as a general rule, you can tell me if you disagree. As a general rule, the person that has the most amount of information about the customer is probably the one that's going to win, right? So if you have more information about their budget and blah, 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 like the solution, who the players are, et cetera, you are likely going to be the person that's going to win that deal. Um, that might mean, hey, I know their budget is X. So if I know that, then I just need to get to, that number and then I can win that deal or whatever. So, and that's hard. That's hard. It goes hand in hand with like asking great questions. It's hard to do that. Sometimes you get really excited because they're describing a problem that you can home run hit out of the park. And so I think salespeople are quick to try to solve problems.
I'm excited to ask a question. Why is the bill of your hat so flat? Because it's yelling at me right now. It's
Well,
yelling at me across the screen. It's like it needs help. Like I don't know. Like I feel like someone needs to lay hands on the hat to like help it. But right now, anyways, that's my question. Is what's
oh
going on over
no,
there? But I'll
you're
I'll pick it up while you're gathering yourself.
you're derailing us.
Well, look, these are important questions. If you're not watching, Colin's hat is flatter than the ground. Anyways, no, it's style. It's style. It's cool. I don't know. I'm not that cool.
Yeah.
So, in order to be able to ask the right questions, you have to intimately understand their business. You have to understand the solutions that you are able to offer. Quick side note, salespeople or training salespeople, like you have to make sure that people aren't like selling vaporware, selling stuff that we actually don't want to sell. You get into like over promising stuff, like because you're a sales guy or you want to teach your salespeople to really, it's in this industry too. It's like, we want to sell the right solutions that have integrity. We also want to think about gross margins.
Yeah.
Who are the manufacturers that we, our technicians, might have the most skill set in, whatever. So like, there's a bunch of things there. You can get into trouble real quick, being a little over aggressive. But point being, on the question side, you have to understand your solutions, what you want to be selling, what they need, and like even getting into like their industry. And being thoughtful. Yes, their business. You talked about what budget, like BANT type stuff, but like even just spending the time to understand the reality of their business, their work environment, whatever. It takes patience.
I think that this kind of is a good segue into what are the 4 most important pieces of information you need to understand. And these are not 4 questions you're going to ask one single time and get the answer to them. And I want to spend a little bit of time on this, and then I want to kind of go a little deeper because there's going to be some nuance to each of these. So the first thing you need to understand in every deal is what is their budget. And I think that most salespeople that have been doing this are asking, hey, Mr. Customer, what is your budget? And Steve, what do you think they say most often? Like if I say you're the customer, I go, hey, Steve, what's your budget?
I don't know. I don't have a budget. You tell me. I don't have a budget. I'm not sure.
And
I don't know how much this costs.
I don't know that that's even like I think sometimes they're being like they're being guarded on purpose, but sometimes I genuinely think they don't know.
They just yeah.
Like at Alarm Masters, it's like we're doing this accounting stuff where we're trying to upgrade our accounting, and I did not know how much this software was going to cost. So the guy was like, "What's your budget?" And I'm like, I don't have a budget. I don't know yet. Like can you give me some anchor pricing? yeah. 5. 5 what?
Yeah.
Just 5. And so I think sometimes, and that's where I think anchor pricing comes in. So what do you think is a great way to, because I'll say this, let's think the end in mind. I tell my sales reps that by the time they get to the proposal presentation, which is this last step of our sales process, they should know they're going to get the deal. There should be no surprises at the pricing presentation. So when somebody says that, I don't know, or I don't have a budget, that's a perfectly reasonable response. And so what do you think are some like good ways to overcome that? Or what are some questions you've asked in the past to like unlock that?
On the budget side, I typically am trying to, get them to talk about the problem, because a lot of times pain opens up wallets and kind of like softens that conversation. So you also have to read the room. Like, is there immediate hesitancy around spending any money on this? And like, some champion actually has no sway in the room and everyone else is annoyed they're there. Like, is that the situation?
Right.
Or is it, man, this is a huge like point of frustration. You got to get them talking. And as they start talking, well, if they're explaining certain pain or dynamics to me, now I'm starting to do the mental math of how to frame up like, well, this is a big problem for you guys.
Yeah.
And starting to kind of tease that out from a budget, availability perspective.
Yeah, I think that's great. I totally agree. And I think it starts with asking a bunch of questions. Typically, when a customer says to me, I don't know my budget, I would say something like this. I would say, hey, I can sell you, if I was a car dealer, I could sell you everything from a Camry to a Ferrari. But you may not need a Ferrari and you may need something a little bit more than a Camry. And so my job is to figure out what features and what your use case is and to fit within your budget. So I'm going to provide you some anchor pricing, just very basic budgetary pricing on what I think that something like this is going to cost. So we don't both kind of waste our time trying to figure out something if it all comes down to price at the end. So, if you're doing a single door of access control, we're looking at, whatever, $3,000 to $4,000 a door and, $20 a month. Is that fit sort of, if we could hit all the technical validation points you need, does that sort of fit within your budget? Now you're going to get some type of reaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like at that point, they're going to say, oh, shoot, I thought that was going to be $300 to $400. I had no clue that it was $3,000 to $4,000 a door to, do all that. Like I feel like that sort of pops the bubble of now I don't know what my budget is. Well, you've got something in mind. You just didn't know.
Yeah, you give them something to respond to. Also, why I want to do that in person, ideally, or over video. Like, there's a lot of body language in those responses.
Agreed. Totally.
Very dangerous to throw out the pricing on, phone.
Yeah. Or God forbid,
not
email.
A win. Or email. Oh yeah, dangerous. So yeah, that's actually good. Like actually, worst would be delivering initial pricing over an email.
Yeah.
Tempting, don't do it. Second would be a phone if they refuse to get on video or meet in person.
Yeah.
But I would fight, against that.
Yeah.
You at least want to be on video because there's a lot of body language, tied up in that. But really want to be in the room with them when we're talking
Yeah.
and getting that initial response.
Yeah, I agree. We could spend a lot more time on budget. I think that this is probably one of the most important things. If you're going in and your customer says that this is too expensive, then you didn't do a great job just doing discovery, because you really should say something like, hey, when I said it was $3,000 to $4,000, but I actually came in and it was $3,100. What about this is too expensive? Like, what changed? Sounds like now you have a budget. Why don't you give me what your budget now is? And so now I can, because like I'm not going to negotiate against myself. So I think budget's I think it's one of the most important things. I do use, you referenced earlier using BANT, which is budget, authority, need, timeline. I kind of combine need and timeline into a single bullet, which is what's the compelling event?
Yeah.
Why? That's the other question we ask a lot is, why are you doing this now? Why didn't you do this 6 months ago? Why aren't you doing this 6 months from now? Why is it important that we do this
Great question.
today?
Yeah.
Right.
One other thing back on budget really quick, which this is something I think in molding salespeople, sometimes salespeople are like, we have a couple of former collegiate athletes. They're like competitive people, but maybe some of your sales team, maybe you're, hiring a first salesperson, or
I'm one of the
maybe
collegiate
even
athletes.
Yeah, that's right. Clearly, obviously.
Yeah. Intramural volleyball champion in 2011.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Wow. I mean, that you've got the baseball hat thing going, so that's good.
Yeah.
So you need to help salespeople start to become more like business savvy if they aren't.
Business
and
acumen.
Understand business acumen, how businesses actually work. Guess what? Especially the more upmarket and enterprise you go, the budget might be derived from two different departments.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like, so you've got, IT, and like there's different scenarios where you're going to have to play two different stakeholders, two different groups, two different budgets to get to, enough dollars to kind of cover that solution that they really do need. So that's a very nuanced, I'm kind of going deep. I'll come back up, but like, that's a really specific point that I've seen play out several times, Alarm Masters, even in the past. And so that's for yourself. That's for training people, just something to keep in mind. That might be a reality. Typically not like some small deal.
Yeah, right.
But larger ops.
Totally agree. Business acumen, especially around asking budgetary questions, super important. Have the rule of thumb is there, have a budget, have anchor pricing or budgetary pricing available for your sales team. So I think that this is probably I think the most overlooked reason in all of sales, which is why are you doing this, and understanding their time pressure and their reasoning is going to motivate and help you understand how to do the deal better. Like, is this because you have an insurance, you got a lightning strike? Well, that's an interesting data point, right? It's like, well, we got to get this claim closed by this amount of time. Budget is less important than reliability. I mean, speed, whatever. Like,
I'm going to say a lightning strike is a compelling event.
Yeah. I agree.
That's a big one.
An audit.
Yeah.
You have any other good compelling events? I took 3.
I'm still stuck on the lightning, but
yeah.
Like, I know that we actually have a scenario with one of our customers where that's the case. It just, that might not be the very first thing, I'd lead with, but like, lightning strikes happen all the time.
We get lightning strikes is probably the most common reason why our panels are like, and I just wanted to say this for all the operational folks out there. These are not existing customers that don't have properly grounded systems. Okay. This is systems that other people have installed. Lightning struck it, blew the system.
Yeah.
Okay. Not Alarm Master's fault. Just want to say. Doesn't speak to the quality of our work. But yeah, so I think that the compelling event's a big thing because I think it's going to inform. I mean, I don't know. You tell me. But to me, it seems like that's going to inform some of how you're going to go about solutioning for the deal and also how you're going to position your service to the customer, right?
Yeah. And the greater the compelling event, that's also going to give you some pricing leverage and all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah. And by the way, compelling event isn't the same thing as urgency. Customers kind of always want pricing as fast as possible. And I think that that's wise to get to a pricing stage quickly, but their urgency doesn't dictate your sales cycle. Just saying that.
So pause for a second. So
yeah,
like how do you handle a lack of urgency or a lack of a compelling event when you're going through your process? Way to go, Mr. Salesperson. And like, we just think it's kind of like a good thing to do. I just
Yeah.
think it's good to upgrade, kind of, stay updated with the times,
Yeah.
ho hum. Yeah, we probably have some budget, but it's just kind of like mediocre.
Oh
Like,
man,
what are you going to press to try to show them why they should feel more compelled, more urgent? Or are you typically going to back away from that deal and not invest time in it because you think it won't close?
Yeah, I'm going to take one of two routes, and it's all going to come from one thing. This is what I talk to my sales about my sales team all the time. If they don't have a compelling event, then what you need to say is, okay, sounds like this is sort of a nice to have. So back to budget, I gave you an anchor price of $3,500, $3,000 to $4,000 a door. We've got 2 doors. So if I come back with a budget tomorrow, a proposal fully locked in, that is $8,000, will you sign it within 48 hours? So I'm going to say, fine, I'll do the work to get you a proposal. Are you going to give me the commitment that you're going to execute on that proposal? And if you don't feel comfortable that you can do that, then I'm not going to be in a rush to get you the proposal, and I'm probably going to disqualify the opportunity and move on nicely. Hey, I understand that. Listen, we work with a lot of different customers. We are really focused on trying to help the customers that have established budget. And obviously there's a real cost involved in us putting together this proposal and doing site walks and giving you all the estimation that you need for this. So when you guys have the budget set aside and it's been approved and you're ready to make a decision, like, we'll be here, and I promise you we'll be within plus or minus 10% of that budgetary pricing. And that's how I would handle it.
Yeah. I think you have to be willing to walk away. And so if they're not going to kind of commit, kind of dig in, then you start to lean out.
Yeah. Yeah. Which leads me to the next point, which is power, authority. BANT, B-A, A is authority. You're probably not getting the deal done if the decision maker, quote unquote, that you're working with is the receptionist. And it is so prevalent in this industry that folks do not get access to power.
Yeah.
They interact with the receptionist or whoever, the office manager. I'm using that as a stereotype, by the way.
Hey, shout out all receptionists listening. You're awesome.
You are. Couldn't do it without you. They have a tough job. But they're not the ones signing the check. And the check on a real budget. Like if you were selling, I'm going to wash your windows, maybe you could run that cycle through Sheila. But which Sheila is our fictitious, what we call gatekeeper.
Well,
so that's Sheila.
We used to have a Sheila. A long time ago.
We did.
She was great.
We did. She was great.
Shout out Sheila.
But anyway, so I think that you've got to get access to power, and that's super uncomfortable for most people to ask the question of, hey, Steven, in addition to you making this decision, who else is going to be involved in this decision? Who on the payables team is going to be the one to approve the expense? And who's going to be the one that's going to sign our contract?
Yeah. Be direct.
Me. Okay. So you're going to be the one to cut the check and send the approval and sign the proposal and all that. That sounds perfect. So can I go ahead and send you that contract now for you to review all the terms? And you don't have to sign the contract. Obviously, we don't have one, but could you just tell me that this is good and that there's no changes that are required? That's like a great first step and you have to do that delicately because you really don't want that person to feel like you're trying to go around them or you're trying to diminish their value, because gatekeepers have a lot of value and influencers have a lot of value. And even for me, I'll tell my team, hey, y'all go buy something, and I'm ultimately the decision maker, but these guys are really kind of the front line. And so if somebody tries to go around them and come straight to me without working through them, that's annoying to me. Right. So I want them to kind of work within the team. What do you think, Steve? What are some other ways folks can try to get access to power?
Sometimes if you have enough knowledge of, I used to do this in a former life. If you have enough knowledge of that person's business, you can ask questions that only the owner or the person in authority is going to have the answer to.
Yeah.
And that's situational, circumstantial. But if you can kind of figure out, what that might be, there's probably some patterns and things, and I don't know if anything comes to your mind right now, but like just ways that you can position questions where inevitably they're gonna have to go bring it
Yeah.
up to their boss.
Mhm.
Kind of pushes that towards, that authority, and they're gonna have to at least bring that back from them, so they're getting them involved.
Yeah.
Worst case.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm also trying to pull people in, like, I guess, not so subtly or subtly. So if it's a demo, I say, hey, during the discovery process, I'll ask the question, who else is going to be using this system on a day-to-day basis? So if it's an access
Mm,
control system or if it's a video
that's good.
system, who is going to be watching this video, recording it, downloading the clips, etc.? If y'all have a insurance event, who's going to download that interface with insurance? And I asked them to write I write those names down. And I asked that in the discovery meeting. And then we do a site walk. And then before we schedule the demo, I'll say, okay, hey, I really think we need to invite these people. If they're going to be involved in the decision, that they need to, if they're going to be doing these things, they're obviously going to have some influence on, you want to make sure it's easy to use so they get it. So I really feel like it'd be worth their time to come into this 15-minute meeting. So I think that's another way to get multi-threaded, which ultimately can help you get access to power. But
Yeah.
you just have to, like, it's hard. It's probably the hardest part of all this. Like asking for compelling event, asking for budget, that's kind of table stakes in terms of like what people expect a salesperson to ask. But
Yeah.
getting access to power is so sensitive.
It is. But as we talk through all this, I'm thinking about us selling our prior careers and selling, also being sold to. We get
Yeah.
sold to a lot.
Yeah.
I'm kind of at the point personally, putting myself in kind of the authority seat. I just want it direct.
Yeah.
Like I want clear. So I think you want to train people, you want to build a sales team that isn't scared to like say the thing. Make the
Yeah.
ask. Don't dance around it. Be
Mhm.
really clear. Like
Yeah.
people want, it's kind of the people want to be led sort of idea.
Mhm.
Like people want to be led through a process. Hey, here's how this works. Here's what we're doing. Here's what we're doing now. Here's what we're doing next. Like,
Yeah.
here's who's involved, blah, blah, blah. And if you're going to get pushback, then you can start to objection handle in that process. Great. But I think a lot of salespeople just kind of fly by the seat of their pants, and it's, real loose. And a lot of times they don't want to be, I don't want to be pushy.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Yes,
you
you
want to
do.
be
You need to be asking
clear.
for the business.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me I'm pretty. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm wanting to go back and kind of think about growing that sales team and training them. And as we're talking about all this, like you have to have, like, if you're going to have a killer sales team, that sales team is going to be clear communicators who are direct, that are not afraid
Yeah.
of awkward. Like
Yeah.
awkward. You know what's awkward? Not hitting my quota.
Yeah.
That's awkward.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It's awkward. I totally agree. I think that's a great tip that we spent a ton of time on in our latest sales kickoff, which is having the hard conversations and asking the hard questions and getting comfortable with that. And I think that a good way to do that is to practice this in-house. So we always use the thing we always use, not just in sales, but across the company, is watch, do, teach. So watch someone do something, do it yourself, and then teach somebody else how to do it is the best way to become proficient at that. So we tried it during SKO. We did a role play, a lot of role playing. Then I had them go and try these last few days to go and try and do it on smaller accounts. So go on accounts that have lower, we're talking $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 deals, not a $50,000, $100,000 deal, and then to go refine their approach a little bit, and then go and teach, and go watch some of their peers do it, and like teach them and provide them feedback. And I think that that's a really great point. Is it can be uncomfortable. Even I'm a pretty direct guy. Stephen can tell you, pretty
Confirmed.
direct. And I even struggle a little bit. I get a little squirmy sometimes. I'm like, I really like this person. I don't want to make them feel a certain way. And it's like, no, you're right. Steven's point is really valid. It's like, hey, we need to lead the folks into, hey, if I'm going to do this, will you do this? Because here's the simple truth. Let's just put it on the table. That customer owes you nothing. Like, how many times have you busted your butt and the customer just disappears and goes with your biggest competitor? That's awkward. That
Yeah.
makes you feel awkward and frustrated. So you have every
Yeah.
right to ask questions to determine if this is the right cycle. This is, I think, one of the biggest things is missing in this industry is folks do not qualify deals enough. And they spend so much selling time on deals that do not close. They're ecstatic if they're at a 25% hit rate. 1 out of 4, we need to be at 50%. We need to be at 75%. You need to
What's your
know.
ratio? What's your ratio of though? Like just to 50% of what, right? Like not initial lead, right? So are you saying
Right.
qualified lead, like just
Yeah.
to be clear?
In opportunities. So that kind of goes back to our definition. Lead is something that hasn't been qualified yet. And so I would say once something has been qualified, it's an opportunity. So we have some line of sight to budget authority need timeline. Once it's been qualified, then I'm going to say, hey, 50% of those are opportunities. Right. And so, or sorry, 50% of those opportunities should close is my
Should
point.
close. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that we covered a lot of ground today and we wanted to really keep today's episode extremely consumable. I think I'll go back and do a couple quick recap. And then Steven, if you want to recap a couple points for everybody, like a summary, the summary. Yeah.
Now, one thing I wanted really quick though is because I loved it from the sales kickoff. Really quick as like a fun thing to do
Yeah.
with your sales team is what we did on like the 45-minute calling window,
Oh,
like
yeah.
little competition.
Yeah.
Like run through that really quick because this doesn't have to be boring and it also doesn't have to be all theoretical. Like you can live train and be productive while you're training. So run through that and then we'll go into homework and stuff.
Yeah. So what we did was we set a 45-minute window and we gave all of our guys to go into a separate conference room and we said, hey, you have 45 minutes to make set as many appointments as you can set, and you can set them from existing customers or new customers. But it can't be like, it has to be a customer that you haven't like just closed the deal with. It's not just like go to see your favorite customer. And so what we did was we said, whoever can set the most appointments gets a $100 gift card, and we made a competition. You had to stand up at the end and talk about the customers that you set and why you picked them. So the quality mattered as much as the quantity, because in fact we had 2 guys that hit 4 appointments each and another guy that had 1, but the guy that had the 1 had a hot deal. Like literally they were like, hey, I'm so glad you called me. Our fire system, like we need to upgrade it, blah, blah, blah. Lightning strike, actually.
Okay.
Thank you. Glad I brought that back up. Yeah.
Point taken.
The other 4 had some mix of like it was mostly like account management calls and some of them, whatever. So the point was it was a competition, and then we also went and the sales manager and I went and listened to each of their rooms as they were making calls and just kind of provided some feedback and coaching, and that was super easy. And another exercise we're going to do next month is we have a bunch of businesses around us in this business park that are all small businesses. I mean, these are like 1,000, 1,500 square feet. We're going to have our guys go out and see who can generate the most amount of pipeline. And they're going to go exercise some of this like discovery asking questions to see who can go generate leads. And they're going to say, who's access to power and what's your compelling event, blah, blah, blah. And they're just going to go door to door and just practice. And so we're going to do another little competition because it's good, like exercise to watch them and be able to provide feedback.
Yeah. It's like where you can make it fun, make it engaging and productive and not just all like theory. Right. They did some of that, but then move into practice and being productive, train the trainer. Like that's one other thing that you mentioned, kind of the train the trainer type of mentality. And I think we're on a good path towards that. So, all right, next up.
Yeah. So I want to just cover, we talked about, budget and authority and need/timeline a lot. We spent a lot of time on that. We talked about separating out sales training versus product and feature training. And we talked about the importance of that discovery and asking lots of really good questions. So I would say, if you have it today, I would write down, your budget authority need/timeline. And I would write that on a piece of paper and I'd have your salespeople write down what is the goal you're trying to figure out as a result of that? And then what are the questions and the objection you're going to get, and the question and the objection you're going to get to try to get to that end goal. And I would role play that with your salesperson. And it's probably going to be awkward, especially if you've never done this or thought about it, but just like free flow it and like spend the time on it. Spend 45 minutes to an hour just kind of talking through it. And I think that will be extremely, extremely fruitful. It has been for our team, at least. Any last minute thoughts, but aside from the brim of my hat?
Yeah. Last thing, we've said this before in other episodes, is like intentionality wins. Like, what do you expect? Like, what is the definition of insanity is not doing anything different, expecting a different result.
Yeah.
Your sales team isn't going to like magically improve. And so you're going to have to do the hard work, be intentional, train. And it's not like one little like 2-hour long training you do once and you never come back to that. This is like building in a habit and a discipline and a practice within your team, onboarding net new hires, like all of that. You really have to kind of invest in this area if you want to see a notable shift in results.
Yeah. We ask this every episode. We would love it if you would engage with our podcast, like and subscribe the episode, and then comment as well. But here's my ask. If you're still here listening to us, my ask is that you will comment on the video or a short whose hat you like better. You can just say Collin or Steven will tally up the votes. And obviously I'll win. And then we'll recap it on the next episode, who won the contest. So
we'll recap. That's a good dad.
We've had enough of you. Thanks everybody that is listening. We appreciate it. We hope you have a great week. Thanks.